The hero of our story is tired. Not just tired, bone-weary. The kind of exhaustion that seeps into your bones and saps the strength from your limbs. For 20 years he'd been running, hiding from his past, from who he once was, and from what he might become. He stole a ship and set a course for the nearest star system, hoping the vastness of space would somehow soothe his aching heart. But all the stars did was mock him with their cold, pitiless light. They whispered tales of cosmic loneliness, of entire worlds consumed by darkness, and of the slow, agonizing death of the universe itself. He drifted into a dreamless sleep, the kind that comes only after you've cried yourself hoarse. And in that sleep, he heard a sound. At first, it was faint, like the echo of a memory trying to resurface. Then it grew, swelling into a deafening roar that shook the ship to its core. The sound of an ending, of utter annihilation. It tore through him, ripping apart the carefully constructed walls around his heart, releasing the pain he'd buried for so long. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. He woke up alone in the suffocating embrace of his ship, the silence deafening. Was it a trick of his mind? A hallucination born of stress and exhaustion? Or was it the death rattle of the universe itself? What does the last breath of a world sound like? Not the roar of fire, not the silence of dust. When Earth died, it exhaled something that touched every corner of the universe. And that breath carried us further than we ever dreamed. It had started subtly, like most endings do, with the sun growing ever so slightly dimmer, the seasons shifting out of sync, and the Earth shuddering slightly on its axis. People had scoffed at the news reports, their unease overshadowed by the humdrum of everyday life. But as the months passed and the anomalies continued, fear began to creep in. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting the world in perpetual twilight. The temperature dropped, turning cities into frozen wastelands. The ice caps expanded, drowning coastal cities and disrupting global shipping lanes. In the face of this silent, creeping doom, humanity had done what it always did. They'd fought, blaming each other for the coming apocalypse, whether it was climate scientists, governments, or religious zealots. Every group had its own narrative, but none could offer a solution. He remembered watching the news reports with a mixture of morbid fascination and detached curiosity. Even then, there had been a strange peace that settled over him, a feeling that whatever was happening, he was not in control. And maybe that was how it should be, he'd thought. Maybe sometimes you just have to let the universe take the wheel. He'd stepped out onto his balcony then, wrapped in a thick coat against the biting wind. Looking up at the darkening sky, he'd seen not an ending, but a beginning, a chance to start over somewhere new. So he'd sold what little he had, bought a one-way ticket to Mars, and waited. Now, as he stood on the frozen wasteland of Mars, watching Earth recede into the distance, he understood. The last breath of Earth didn't fade away. It sings still, across black holes and nebulae, and at the edge of time, a lullaby to dying worlds, and a requiem for the dead. Tell me, if your world had one final breath, what memory would you want it to carry into the stars? The love of family, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the sound of laughter echoing through a long-abandoned house? What memories will you carry with you into the darkness? And if you found this story resonated with you, I have a question. What kind of stories do you want to hear more of? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and let the universe decide.